sun ends Ateneo's day. Eyes are dry at the last goodbye. This is the Ateneo way. Merry for you, for your white and blue. We pray you keep us merry, constantly true. We pray you keep us merry, faithful to you. Down from the hill, down to the world go I, remembering still how the bright blue eagles fly. Through joys and tears, through the laughing years, we sing our battle song. Win or lose, it's a school we choose. This is the place where we belong. Merry for you, for your white and blue. We pray you keep us merry, constantly true. We pray you keep us merry, faithful to you.
Nakabantay sa relo at malamig kamay mo. Hindi kang balahibo, gabi bago ang Pasko.
Ang tangi kong hangad ngayong Pasko, madampian muli ng halik mo. Paghilom, paglayang matata mo, makapiling ka lang ngayong Pasko.
Life is not too short to make this world a little better than kasama ang buong pamilya, pati ang mga aso kahit boses lang ang karaoke. Putol-putol ang video, nakikita kita, nakakasama ka ngayong Pasko.
Let me take you on a little sleigh bell ride. Watch the stars light up our neighborhood tonight. O diba? Pang wish-clusive.
Ganda mo, girl. Sige, go lang.
Alright. Nakasabit na ang mga parol. It's party time, let's lose control. It's Christmas time again in the Philippines.
Bro, September pa lang. Siya ba't ka nag-English?
Simbang gabi, Noche Buena, pipingka na rin.
Lutan ng pagmamahal ang naulila. Hainan ng paglingip ang nananakawa. Bigyan ng pagmamalasakit, handugan ng tula at awit. Pangunawa ay huwag nang ipagkait. Ipagdiwan ng ibang Paskong sasabi.
Tuwing Pasko, lahat tayo nagiging bituin. Ang law at dilim ng gabi ating papawin. Let's shine, let's be the light. Liwanag ng noong palaganapin.
Tuloy ang Pasko, tuloy ang pag-ikot ng mundo. Tuloy-tuloy pagdaloy ng pag-ibig mo.
Radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugod, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Ipag the Blue Eagle, galing giting at tigil.
Mga Katipuneros, it's time to level up! Your talk variety program showcasing the best in media and other fields. As we feature the most loved personalities and the best practices of what we truly refer to as Magis. Together with multi-awarded multimedia guru Mr. Noel Ferrer, let's all level up every Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM.
Sige, I think we're okay. So, just in game. So all good already, all the best. And speaking of the best, I waited for this. And it's coming at a time when things are not as crazy anymore. There's more equanimity and balance, no upheaval of emotions. Wala nang surge ang pandemic. But really, after everything they've gone through, pre-pandemic and even after, here's a couple I really look up to. 37 years of being together is no small feat. And 38 years of being an OPM icon is really a great blessing. But more than that, their existence as being Christ-centered and anchored in prayer is something I truly admire and love. Friends, please welcome. My Lord, I call him Lord when I see him. Shepherd Lord Gary and Angeli Pangilinan. I'm honorary Pangilinan-Valenciano. So, Gars, how are you? Angeli, how are you? Thank you for being here after we've waited for this. Gars, I think, well, Martin is my tatang. I call you Shepherd Lord. Things happen to you, life happened to you, dengue and all, quarantine and all, and you survived. You just surrendered everything to the Lord. Kumusta ka?
I'm doing a lot better now. First, I just want to greet everyone. Hi, everyone who's joining us today.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here because I've known Noel for about the same amount of time I've been in the industry, and we both have witnessed each other grow as artists and as people. And I'm really happy to be here. And yes, I had to go through a lot of life challenges starting last year, but I think this year it kind of kicked me in the gut, when I was diagnosed with dengue. Thank God it wasn't as severe as I thought it would be, and thank God it wasn't COVID, because when you first get the symptoms, the first thing that comes into your mind is
COVID.
Is this COVID? And then you have to wait, and that was tough, But I went through it. I've always had a great team around me. She heads that team. And I survived.
Well, they were the first people I called when Isa had COVID at the time when it wasn't so talked about yet.
Yeah.
But here's a fellow COVID survivor. Angeli, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Noel. Trying to survive this very, very challenge-filled time. By the grace of God, He continues to be with us and provide for us. And, we went through a lot of deaths and sicknesses, so many friends passed away. And so it's been quite a challenge, but I'm okay.
But you've been looking after so many people also. You've done fundraisers, anything. So it's really not just about us. So for the theme of this talk, it's really, really God, family, and country, I said. So very, very important. So sabi ko sa inyo nga parang your life, your ministry, your music, your artistry, si Angeli, kumakanta din yan at nag-perform at pag-uusapan din natin yan, is one big inspiring prayer. But what do you pray for now, Angeli?
With everything that's happening, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right?
That's true.
I always ask the Lord to give me the wisdom and the Holy Spirit to make decisions, and whatever email, because today with multiple apps and so many communication platforms, you may miss out on certain inquiries or messages, and it's a little overwhelming. So I always ask the Lord, this is always my prayer, if it is for us, make it happen, and if it is not for us, block the text, the email, or
that's true.
Because at this point, you have a lot of people who make tampo, but I've learned not to judge people on that basis. That if it didn't happen, or we were not able to accommodate certain opportunities, or vice versa, we were trying to. I've learned a lot in terms of do not judge na lang. So my prayer has always been to give me wisdom.
Tama yun. Parang learn to say no. When we were younger, of course, we'd say yes to everything. Yeah. But then we're defined by the things and people we say no to. Isa yun sa mga learning.
Your battles. You gotta learn to choose your battles,
That's true.
And then when I was praying once, I was just praying because sometimes you have this tendency, you want to help everybody,
Yes.
And I had a realization when I do have these conversations with the Lord, and sometimes I just hear His voice. And once He says, did it ever occur to you that when you keep saying yes to all the people who ask you for help, you are actually stealing the thunder from somebody else who I ordained to help that person?
That's also true.
In other words,
yeah.
Not just you. You're not God.
Yes,
So you're right. Just say no. Sometimes you have to say no.
Let's talk to our Lord. Gary, how do you like talk to the Lord? I call him Shepherd para kaming pastol ni Gary. When Gary says something, parang yun yung tama. Actually, when Gary talks, ganun yung impact mo sa akin, Gary. Sa? Parang kung nasan si Gary, yun yung tama. Parang ganun. Kasi like, I tell him na bago siya umakyat sa stage, bago siya magsalita, inaaral niya lahat. Parang ganun. He's so well put together. He discerns things well. But how do you talk to the Lord, guys? How do you like pray to him?
Okay, when I come before the Lord, I come to him as I am. I never put on anything to try and show somebody I am not.
Okay.
I never come before him trying to be the person I'm trying to be. I come to him if kung medyo nagtatampo ako sa kanya, I let him know.
Wow.
Yeah, but of course it's not like it's more like it's like two friends that it's me and God, right? But there are many things that, and I'm sure many have been afraid to tackle this. But there are many times there are certain contradictions that happen in our lives where, but Lord, you said this, but this is what happened, and this is what I thought, kasi based on your word and all that. But going deeper than that, I believe that I've come to learn that God can be very unpredictable at times. I know some of you are like, what? Valenciano saying that God is unpredictable? He's not unpredictable in the way he is. He will always be God. He will always be faithful. He will always be loving. He will always be forgiving. But in the manner he does his work in and through us, that's when it becomes unpredictable. I'll give you one example. There was one concert I had in Iba, Zambales, for the youth. You know, when it comes to that, talagang, sige, game. When I got there, it was thunder and lightning, and it was an open-air concert.
Oh my God.
So, everybody disappeared from the open. It was muddy and all. But we just kept praying. And those were one of the days, Noel, when I was really talking to my pastor friend who was with me and telling the pastor friend, so paano to? Di ba pinagdasalan natin to? Tapos biglang ganun. And my pastor friend was just like, Gary, just keep praying and all. It stopped raining and it just didn't stop. When I came out on stage, the stage was wet, obviously, but the stars were out. The moon was out. And I was like, what? And so we had the concert. It was not as many as what we hoped, but those who were there were the people appointed to be there talaga. Those were the people who were really meant to be there. So was God faithful? Of course he was. Was he good? Of course. But the manner in which he did it was not the way I saw it, no? So, yeah, so I just come to him as I am. And I would advise everyone out there, but Sir Gary, kasi ito yung, dito ako nagsa-struggle. Go to him with the struggles. After all, he's the only one who can put things in place and in order in our hearts that many times just are not where it should be. So that's how I am with him. I talk
But
to
he
him.
answers you in what way? Parang when you converse with him, kasi sa akin, in silence. Diba? He reaches out to you best when you're
I always
silent.
believe that there are three answers that God gives us for all our prayers. One is yes. It can be
overwhelming, yes.
Oh, Lord, thank you so much. It can be a no, wherein, sayang Lord, pero thank you pa rin, at least I'm okay. But the most difficult answer is, wait. Because you're like, wait, what do you mean, wait?
That's true.
But he knows what's best, right?
That's
so
true.
sometimes, and I'd like to emphasize what Angeli said about saying no. Because not every good open door is a God open door. That's you have to be very cautious in these things, especially now that we are entering the new norm, which hopefully will be a better norm also.
Yes.
But that's how I am. That's how he answers me. And it's amazing, like with my health, right? I mean,
ibang klase. You're a walking miracle.
No,
You're
really.
a walking testimonial of the goodness of the Lord.
I say that and I don't boast in myself, because really, if not for him giving me people like Angeli and my team, my nephew, my niece, my assistant, my road manager, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be able to talk to all of you. So he knows how to put people in place, and that's how he answers my prayers.
Mayon, God appointed lahat. But Angeli, paano ikaw? You're so results-oriented. Kasi di ba, as someone like really on top of the organization, dapat you deliver results. Pero ano yung realization, the way the Lord moves in your lives?
For 35 years,
Mhm.
Genesis has been representing artists and
Doing
actually
programs and shows, yeah.
producing live events. We specialized
And
into
now
live,
online events
yeah,
too.
and now online. But imagine from millions and millions of production budgets,
Mhm, mhm.
zero.
Yes.
Last
Yeah.
year. I mean, it was ironic that the last play or event that we
Mhm.
watched was Joseph the Dreamer,
Yes.
where there was a
At the
time of
BGC
there is
Arts,
a time
yes.
of
Yeah, the
plenty,
story of Joseph is
and
about the
then there
time
was
of
a time of
plenty,
famine.
time of famine.
Yeah.
And truth to tell, talagang it really happened that for the time that we were able to save certain things and invest in certain things, and God saw us through. So when you ask me, what I think about all these things, prayer is so
Yeah.
important, yes. But I would never have been able to survive if I did not have the word of God.
That plus, Angeli, diba, nasa tao ang gawa, nasa Diyos ang awa, ganun yun. No? But thank
Yes.
you. It's not just about you. You've been organizing us, people in the industry, to talk about or to plan for our future in the digital world. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for making us realize all those, di ba? Parang uncollected, parang ganun.
Collected
Some,
income.
yeah, of rates for some
I'm still
people.
also learning a lot,
Ang
because
galing.
it's a transition into the digital realm,
That's
which
true. That's
a lot
true.
of people were unable to do. So
Yeah.
that's why, we put together the samahan ng mga
Pero
tagapamahala
ang
ng
galing
mga
lang kasi
awit
the
sa
thing about the pandemic is that people organized more, di ba? So that there will be channels whereby we can like help each other. So it's really not about us. So isang realization is that we are stronger when we're together. That's actually that. And stronger when we're together in prayer too. Tell us about how you came about with this Pray Philippines thing, the app.
pray.com.
Pray.com.
Pray.com, ang galing naman yan. It really came at the right time. Ako yung favorite ko yung powerful prayers. There's this di ba, the Larry King book. Ayun, one of my favorite books. Gary, sa tingin ko, I know you're preparing for other books. You've talked about it in some of your interviews, but you're in authority to ask for powerful prayers because you're leading us to this now. So how did that come to life?
Well, pray.com, one day, I just get this Angeli coming to me and telling me, I have this
App.
message for you, Gary, but there's this group of pray.com and they want you in it. I had no idea that it was the number one Bible app in the world. And in the Philippines, there was already one.
Pray
name.
app. It's a prayer app.
Yeah, it's a prayer app. And I didn't know that in the Philippines, they already had about a million. About a million subscribers. And I said, wow. And they wanted me to be a part of it. But then again, like I said kanina, there are other people that got involved. We attend a church called Favor Church. And the main pastor of that church knew them, and they asked him, who else in the Philippines do you think can be a part of something like that? It goes Gary Valenciano. So they reached out, and then that whole thing happened. But amazing people to be with. They know what they're there for. And they have actually even created an app where you don't have to subscribe. You don't have to pay a monthly thing. Even if you want it for free, you get 90% of the app for free. And that's a lot of content that you can be inspired by, uplifted with, and I'm glad that I'm part of that. I'm part of this. In fact, my whole setup here now in this studio, I'm working on more content for pray.com. It's taking a little more time kasi ako na ngayon nandito, ako yung nagre-record, ako yung nagmi-mix ng konti. Then I send it to them and then they do the final thing.
Multitasking, but Gary has been doing that naman. Even before with your recordings. But at least now it's a different content na, well, ako kasi, yung at the end of a day, I would just look for, my question is, the way I pray, nasan ang Diyos nung araw na yon? And
Mm.
there has
That's so
got to be
beautiful.
the presence of God during that day. Kung hindi ako makakatulog, Jel. Talagang hahanapin ko kasi parang walang purpose yung day mo kung wala yung Diyos sa araw mo. So talagang, or if not, hindi ka pa dapat matulog. Reach out to someone and then, nakita ko yung Diyos dyan. And then I will just say thank you. That's my prayer. Siguro baka in pray.com you can like feature the different kinds of ways that people pray. Kasi hindi lang form prayer, di ba? Parang there are a lot of, sabi nga nila, singing is praying twice, di ba? Parang gano'n, double. Parang baka there are other ways that people like pray, the manner that they pray for.
The most important for me, Noel, no, is in our lives we make all kinds of mistakes. We're the biggest sinners in the world, especially sometimes those who are like Gary and me were up front, but there's so many challenges we've gone through in our own lives, and the thing that has really stuck to me is the fact that without the word of God, which is, you were talking about Thanksgiving, right? And immediately there was, be thankful in all circumstances. There's that Bible verse. And there's another Bible verse that says, do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving. Present your requests to God, and the peace of God that transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus. So in other words, when you pray, you have to be grateful. So kaya yung sinabi mo, that's tumbak, nakuha mo talaga.
Tumbok, yeah. Totoo yun. Kasi parang different manners, pero papunta doon lahat. And it changes. A grateful heart totally changes everything.
Yes.
Yun talaga. And there's this word, kasi in Ephesians 6, you have to put on the armor of God. But what is the armor of God? The armor of God is your faith. It's a shield. So that's your defense, diba? But if you just have your faith, it's not going to work. You know why? Because it says you have to have the shield of faith and the word of God, which is the sword of the Spirit. So when you have fear, diba, do not worry. But then when you have the word of God, it becomes your sword. So you can be defending yourself all the time. But when you do not know the word of God, hindi mo magaganyan eh. So you know that in all things, He works for the good. That's true.
That's another word, so when you have it, you have a sword.
That's true. It's active faith. It's faith at work.
Yes.
No, so whenever like you do something, parang tinutulungan, gina-guide ka talaga towards that, di ba? The clarity of your decisions. And I guess even the way you like handle things. Like, I'll have to go to the family part now. Grabe. How many years? 38 years career, 37 years of family, well, challenging, but really, awesome family life. We all look up to you, but diverse family backgrounds. So, and paano nyo napagtagpo yun, guys, for the past 37 years? Well, big versus small family, actually big and big family. So,
yeah, big and big.
That's it. So,
actually, he was a classmate of Anthony.
Yan na, in Lasal.
In grade school, no? So,
ikaw kapitbahay ka namin sa Ateneo. Sa Miriam. And I know that story about you inviting him sa Marinol, no? For
that was Felici.
Felici ba yun?
Yeah, Felici invited me. So I went and I performed, and that's when I met Angeli. Angeli, she was the first, other than Jackie Lu Blanco, because Jackie Lu Blanco, being the daughter of Pilita Corrales, Pilita was very much a big supporter of the Kundirana. So I got to know.
Lasal.
And Binibining Lasal. Okay? So pa nun, dapat meron kaming ganun ulit. Anyway, at that time, Angeli was the only and the first major artist that I saw, come up to me and talk to me and ask me, and actually say, you're quite talented. Do you have a manager and all? This was after I said,
galing.
And I said, no.
You know what came before that was 4 years of me being in showbiz.
Yun na nga. I have to extol that. Angeli was supposed to be FPJ's partner. People should know that. Na magpipelikula o nasa Music and Magic. But then it's so selfless, Angeli, to like parang shift your to a person that you can like see direction for.
No, it was like this. This is the whole story. So I was only supposed to be in showbiz for 3 months because I finished college and I had just graduated business and I was going to run my father's companies.
Yeah.
And then Sandra Chavez tells me there are these cute boys in this band and they need backup singers to Kula Desma.
Okay.
So when I heard Ku, I freaked out and I said, if I can be, part of this woman's history, I'll be, that's like, wow, iconic. So I joined the band and
with the costumes,
I know.
Yeah,
and,
with the
and
outfits.
Then,
yes.
Ku left us after about a year.
Yes.
And syempre yung iba umalis, but Sandra Chavez said, no, continue, and she wanted me to be the next big star. And I didn't want. Then FPJ asked me to be his leading lady for 2 movies. I said yes. Yes. Yeah, I had the script. I think it was 25,000 a movie. The schedules were all on.
Okay.
Yeah, Ben Hernandez was the producer. And then I went to a grocery. Okay. And then in that grocery, the girl kept asking me about my private life. My boyfriend, di ba? You're the one in the commercial. Ikaw yung ganito, ikaw yung And I was so offended. I just said, that's my privacy. She has no business knowing about my life. And then it traumatized me. And so I told Sandra Chavez, I can't do it. And Peke was furious because he was our creative director. Gaga, everything like that. And I said, but I can't. I need to work with my dad. I'm going to be a big star if I do these movies and I don't like the loss of privacy, So I started looking for a star.
Galing.
To take my place in Sandra's life.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am in Marinol and come from a photo shoot. So, okay, I really looked like a big celebrity that day. But then I heard Gary.
Yeah.
That's when
Somewhere down the road ba yun? Was that the first song?
Yeah, you did somewhere down.
I did somewhere down the road, but I also
tape na nag-conk up. Di ba? Parang yun, that's a whole story. Na natira pa yung tape mo. Tapos
I know, that's another.
That's another one.
That's another one. Okay.
That's another one.
And so Gary's
I was beside my boyfriend that time. You know my ex, right?
I know.
Beside, saying, this guy's really good. It's going like that.
He's really good.
He started with 100 Ways by Al Jarreau.
Yeah.
No.
And then,
no. 100 Ways ba?
Yeah.
Ano,
alam ko,
100 Ways.
Pero ambisyoso yan kasi nagka-campus tour Spain.
The Spain came later on.
Pero ginagawa mo sa campus.
Yes.
Hindi ginagawa yun sa campus, Angeli, ngayon, di ba?
Sabi ko kay Angeli when she said, come, we have band rehearsals and maybe you can sing in the rehearsal so that her manager, Sandra Chavez, could check me out. So she asked, so what song do you want to try? I said, I mentioned some songs and I said Spain of Al Jarreau.
Did you Spain there?
Yeah. I did Spain there. I did Spain.
I thought the 3 songs, 100 Ways, Magkaisa, and Somewhere Down the Road.
No, Magkaisa, they didn't even know. I didn't even have the
Ang galing.
But it was with the live band. So galing. And then yun. No, the Spain came later on when I was already performing and then they were saying, what do you want to do live?
That was when, kasi I produced his first concert. Sandra was so hung up on Ku. We had concerts pa in Folk Arts Theater, Bacolod, all these things, no? And then, so I said, why don't we produce his first show at the Tavern on the Square? So my savings, Music and Magic, we produced Gary.
It's called And Here He Is.
Gary V.
Gary,
wala pang
V, just Gary.
And then when I used to make all the repertoire for my band, Music and Magic, with Jet Montalibano, no? So I was there with Toto and we were talking about what songs, no? And then he says, I want to sing Spain. And then I said, paint by
Pero
Algero?
siya lang nakakagawa nun.
I said, you mean to say you can scat?
Yes.
And then he was so cute, He has these cassette tapes, and he goes, "You wanna hear?" I said, "I wanna hear." But he's there singing Spain and scatting. And guess how old he was? 18 years old.
Yun na nga. So parang ako, the deep artistry was there already. But guys, if you didn't get into the industry, what could you have been?
I would have been the most frustrated.
Okay.
And
so no backup plan.
None. When I look back now at my life, there was something that I could have become, but I was not studying for it. I was taking up commerce.
Okay.
Commerce. That's her.
Okay.
That's commerce.
Yes.
That's not me.
It's so complimentary,
I am thankful. In a way, I am thankful that I did not take commerce, and I don't think of numbers except the numbers of those who I'm going to be able to reach when I have concerts. Because if I start thinking of how much I'm going to get in return, that's going to change the entire intention of why I'm performing. But if I was to tell you now what I would have become, I would have become a craftsman.
Oh.
A person who makes furniture, who builds things. I would have done that because I loved working with wood. I remember being in the States creating a shelf. That was I gave to my mom, and then you have the goggles, and then you're with the saw.
May artistry pa rin. May artistry kun, di ba? When you create some craftsman, kung wood at furniture, yan si Angeli, that's the business of the family too.
Awesome. Yeah.
So complimentary. Now let's go through the emotions. Sharon and Kiko did this, but instead of talking about your emotions on your own, let's talk about each other's emotions. Angeli, when did you see Gary most happy? And what can we learn from that? Gary's happiest moment, you think?
Biking, I think. When he goes biking, I think that's where he's happiest. And then
inner happiness, no? Iba na yung description natin of happiness.
I told him that we were going to have a girl.
Galing.
When I came from the doctor and the ultrasound.
I had just lost a major file that I had for scoring a film.
What film was that?
It's
sorry.
Okay, it's a film. It's a film.
What?
No. This was an independently produced film,
and
it was called Hinugot sa Dilim, and it was done in the pinaka-crudest of ways, because I had no experience whatsoever. But 1 week before the showing of the movie, binuksan ko yung file, and the entire file was gone.
Was
gone. The folder was there, but the everything else was gone. So I was weeping in front of my keyboards, and she came home, and she could see me weeping. I said, I can't believe it.
Pero may good news ang Diyos.
I'm going to make everybody wait, hon. And then she goes, well, I just came from the doctor, and I just have some news for you. It's going to be a girl.
Oh my God, ang bait ng Diyos.
But my reaction was, what? I told you not to tell me it's a girl. Ba't mo sinabi sa akin, babae? But, that's for me, that was one happy moment for me because we all wanted a girl. All wanted. Paolo wanted a girl. Gab wanted a girl. I wanted a girl. She wanted a girl. And Kiana was born.
Pero yung ganung condition, no? Yung ganung context before. Yun pala yung preparation ni Gary to be a good actor. I have to tell you, no? Sabi ko sa'yo, you really prepare for the things that you do. Guys, at least hindi mo masasabi na you were bad in films. Kasi, pinaghandaan mo naman din yon. So, I'll ask you that later. But may natitisod tayong kwento tungkol doon. So, you really wanted to be a musical scorer too? Or branch out into musical scoring?
I have been actually doing that. It's always been a dream. And in 2008, I actually created some short stories called Cinematic Audio, where it's small. I was thinking kasi, if I'm going to try and inspire the young, their attention span is very short. So let me try and come up with 2 to 2.5 minute stories from the Bible, okay? But it had people like Jericho Rosales in it. Yours truly, Mari Caimo was the narrator. Leo Martinez played a role. And I would score it using my songs, like Take Me Out of the Dark, pero pang pelikula ang dating. And I fell in love. I love doing that. I listen
Let's
to a
talk
lot.
to the Jollibee people already. You have kwentong Jollibee, let Gary score it. Di ba? Parang you are with that brand too. Di ba? They come out with yung mga
And
kwentong
it's true
Jollibee.
stories, it's true stories that are well told in a short span of time. So that's what I wanted to do back then. And
you can do it.
I'm supposed to do that for pray.com also. But I don't have the time to score the whole thing because the content I'm coming up with now is kind of lengthy. So people will really enjoy it, I'm
Definitive too. Angeli naman, when did you see Angeli happiest, Gars?
I always see her at her happiest when she either has done the number of steps that she's supposed to do for the day. Kasi she'll text me out of anywhere. Last night, latest na balita, kagabi ko, dun sa itaas, paikot-ikot lang dun sa itaas at sa top floor namin, nakatanggap po ako ng text. Han, I just did 2,000 plus steps. I'm like, wow, okay, good. But I like seeing her when she's like that because it doesn't happen always, Like when we were in the States, I even posted it. Yung naglilinis siya dun sa labas, may anong tawag dun? May parang walis. Pinawalis yung mga dahon because there were guests coming to visit. And she was cleaning the place. And you will see her in ways that you never do. And that's the actual joy that she has na we have people coming. I want to make sure, and we have time to be with them. I want to make sure. Okay. I love seeing her like that. And of course, when the kids begin to share their moments of success, Kiana and her coming out in Times Square,
very good.
Gabriel and his accomplishments, and Paulo with his accomplishments as well, especially when she's with Leia.
Yeah.
That's off limits. You let her be, and guaranteed you'll see Angeli at her happiest.
In our thread as managers, doon namin siya nakikita talagang masaya when she talks about the accomplishments of the kids. But what does it say about your definition of happiness now? Kasi ang simple. Di ba? Parang iba na. Hindi na yung achievement, not even money. Di ba? Parang we redefined happiness already for both of you. Kakaiba, no?
Well,
or tumatanda lang tayo na.
No, but you know what,
Yun
Noel?
din.
But you know what, Noel? This one I have to share, no?
Mm-hmm.
It's also where you came from. I mean, my father was on furniture export and a manufacturer, furniture and an exporter. And when the two of us fell in love, he had, diba, everybody knows that, you know, Felici was his girlfriend for 2 months. They didn't know it was 2 months. They thought it was 2 years, you know.
No, very short.
But it was very short. And then a year later, I got pregnant. But the thing about it was, because I got pregnant, of course, my whole family went against me. My father was furious.
Kasi scandalous yun eh.
So
diba?
we didn't have...
It's starting their career, no? But then, ako naman
Gary was renting his apartment, no? With his father and his sisters. They were renting. And in the meantime, the Pangilinans, we had this huge house. We had furniture. We had plenty cars. We had a swimming pool. And then here I am. I'm entering this house. We don't have a bed. We don't have a bed. We were civilly married, but we had a kapok, twin bed, and then a home twin bed on the floor.
That's all
on the
we
floor.
It was character building from the start.
And then we didn't have...
Yung kurtina namin, dyaryo.
Classified ads. Kasi sabi ko, at least yung classified pare-pareho, parang magandang tingnan.
May aesthetics pa si Angeli.
Yes. You know, and then I kept thinking to myself, imagine we export furniture, tapos
that's true.
Sleep on the floor, you know. That's how we started. Then I opened the refrigerator of the Valencianos. And since there was no mother there, it was just really Lolo Vic, you know.
Yes.
Walang laman.
Great photographer.
So we went through that. So for me, for every good thing and every upgrade we had in life, I've always been grateful.
Thankful lang talaga, no? I know you taught me or you pointed me to the Besans Rival where you had your furniture shop. in Viluna, that area. In
Blackwell,
Malacca.
yeah.
Yeah, may mas masarap na San Tribaldo na katabi ng furniture shop ninyo.
Yeah.
Anyway, dati. Anyway, but yan, so happiness has been redefined. But sadness, you've gone through a lot of sad incidents now. Death is a communal thing, and we've like grabe yung pinagdaanan nyo rin with the passing of like loved ones. But Angeli, again, when did you see Gary most sad? And that defines a person too.
Of course, when his mother died in 2009.
Such an impact, di ba? Major.
And when his father died in 2013.
That's true. That's true.
These were really like, like when his father died, Gary was supposed to go to New York. And he did, because when we discussed it, we realized he promised his mom he was coming, and he couldn't come. So I ended up going to Florida. Gary did his part, and I was so worried, how will he go home by himself? And the Lord was so faithful, because that's where his parents met, in New York.
Galing.
And then when he flew back, it was Louis Ocampo who was beside him. I mean, it was just the Lord really allowed all these things. And then the second saddest was when Mamita died. And guess where we were? We were in New York.
We were in New York. And it was tough because
God appointed, no? Really God appointed.
So we were able to just fly 2 hours to go to Florida. So that was when I saw him at his saddest.
But impact on him with the parents' death. Parang a firm resolve na, parang I'll take on the responsibilities. Was he that? Anong impact?
Well, because the mother was in the States, so she was pretty much with, on her own there with the...
How did Gary cope? Some people, like when Sharon talked about the death of the dad, he would bake. Parang si Gary, what was his coping mechanism?
You want her to answer that, or you want...
Oh, no, go guys.
My coping mechanism with mom, kasi, in 2018, my outlook in life kind of changed quite a bit. When I had my bypass, and then a month and a half after, I'm a little over a month after, I'm going back into the operating table for the cancer in my kidney. So my life changed then, when I would look at life. And really, when they say life is fleeting and it's short,
it you, no?
Short. It really is short. So when my mom passed away, there was not much need for me to cope with her loss, although it did hit, but it wasn't like something that I had to struggle with. It was more like, Lord, you gave me somebody like her, and I'm thankful that for the amount of years that she was with me, because we were not living together. And so when I look back, I learned from it. In fact, I posted something saying, if we continue to live with the best that we learn from the people who pass on, then we keep them alive somehow in us.
True.
Okay, when people say, hey, you remind me of your mom. Oh my God, you sounded like your mom. Oh, okay, that means my mom is definitely alive. It doesn't change the cushion, or it doesn't change the impact, or it doesn't cushion the impact of her being gone. But that's how I coped. And with my dad too, with my dad, I'll never forget, I was shooting in Tanay. And Angeli said, are you almost done with the shoot? And I said,
what
no.
shoot was that?
This was for a theme song, actually.
Oh.
One of the theme songs. I'm not sure if it was...
Minsan lang kita iibigin.
Minsan lang kita iibigin.
Oh, okay.
And then she said, and then ABS called the director and said, Gary has to go because his father is dying. So instead of 2 hours traveling from there all the way to St. Luke's in BGC, it took me 1 hour and 5 minutes. Okay. So when I got to my dad and I held his hand, 45 minutes after that, he passed. But then again, I looked up at the Lord and I just said, Lord, what can I learn from all of this? And one thing I learned is I need to be there more, for my own family.
To be present,
maximize every moment.
A lot of regret.
That's true.
There wasn't much regret really on my part.
Must resolve. A firm resolve that you'd be there, more present. But guys, I saw your post on your father, like his pictures.
Yeah.
Diba? And you wanted to like collate them in a book.
He actually came up with a book. My dad.
Yes, I have that. But
my 20th anniversary, no?
Yes.
But there are pictures that
Sinabi mo yan, and I'm waiting for that. I'm a book person because eventually, alam mo yan, Angeli. Well,
I have
digital
your
na
book.
ngayon.
I bought your book.
Yeah, but yun nga sin, it's Donnie's first book also. Sabi daw ni Maricel. But we really it should be in the libraries, ba? People should be studying that. That's their apostolate now, going back to the universities. I guess it's that. Collate the legacy of your dad and then your essays or your captions, your story. You're such a good storyteller.
There's so many things I want to share with people.
That's true.
Well, and I must say that I think that when I look going back to that question about how I cope with my mom and my dad, I think a lot of reason why I'm able to share my stories the way I do is because of what I've learned from them and how I've learned how life is, and that's just one page of what I've learned.
But Angeli naman, the saddest Angeli that you've seen, when was that?
It was perhaps when her father passed away, because up to today she does still miss her father very much, and that's one. And the other one is when she struggles. Our children do suffer a bit. Gab is open about his struggles, with bipolar and all that, and Kiana also has been open about her being depressed, and these are things that a lot of people have been experiencing now more than ever before.
That's
true. I know that it saddens my wife when she has a good talk, with Gab, or
true. That's true.
Kiana, but then when it's all over, it's like
siya na lang, di ba? Oo eh. Guys, part of it also was when you were sick. Siya rin. Yun talaga. And yun nga, talking to her during those times, parang somehow eases that sadness. Pero ramdam mo na, okay, she really just has to talk about it. Yeah. Ikaw, how do you cope with sadness now, Jel?
In the last year and a half, my goodness.
Kasi Jel, ito yung reversal of roles because you've been strong for us. Alam mo yon. Ikaw yon. We depend on you for strength. Pero iba pag ikaw na yung nauubos.
This pandemic, and my team knew that I went through my own share of depression. Kasi nga, one of the worst was losing Sister Dory Villanueva and Joni.
Yes.
I mean, Joni, the last time I cried like that was maybe when Dad died. I cried to my girl Irene, and Irene shocked because I just was wailing because Joni was the sweetest, most wonderful friend ever.
Ang bata pa, di ba?
And then the next big cry I had was Freddie Santos.
Yes.
I mean, it was really, he was one of my best friends. So, there is a coping mechanism that I do. I mean, during this pandemic, it's so crazy. I have the best books in the world. Okay, if you come to my house, you're gonna love my house, Noel. You have.
I would enjoy that.
I have all the kinds of.
I know what that means.
Every kind
if you
of.
like, I can search the web for. I would enjoy that.
What is that? Okay. Hindi ko alam. Anyway, so you have lots of books there, so and then but
books, the best books. I have the books of the Beatles, all kinds of artists, Michael Jackson, Christian books, of John Maxwell, ganyan, diba? So I've been reading a lot of the books, and I've been reading the Bible a lot. But during the pandemic, I started watching K-drama and reading Chinese novels.
Oh, wait. Can I just say something?
Chinese novels with bad.
We're going to that.
Let me just say that the Chinese novels that my wife reads ay hindi yung pangkaraniwang 40 chapters. Medyo 40 chapters, medyo malaki-laki na yan. Hers are like 685 chapters, 700 chapters for one story. So sometimes I ask her, what chapter are you in na? 400? No, 622 na. It's lengthy.
You know what? To all movie producers over there or script writers, you read them. The English is horrible. Very bad English. Very bad proofreading.
But
stories are amazing. Parang
okay.
parang pang soap opera, kaya 1,000 chapters, ganyan.
1,000 pala. Kala ko
Meron
hanggang
nga, 1,000.
Pero maganda yun kasi laban natin yan sa demensya, di ba?
Actually,
Di ba? Parang,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Ako one chapter bago matulog din. Yung di bang gana hanggat kaya mo, it's that eh. Parang, well, just to brush up with vocabulary and what's happening, parang it's that. Laban sa dementia, just to get your mind moving. Tama naman yon. So, good coping.
Yeah,
Good
and so you know, I just zone out, and I just sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours, I'm just like, because sometimes it's too stressful because we have a
Okay.
foundation, right? The Shining Light. And then you have all your freelancers as well who
That's
lost all their
true.
jobs, you know.
That's
I mean, can you imagine if you have millions and millions of pesos worth of events, and how
Yeah.
many people do you hire? And now
That's
all of those people have no jobs.
That's
So
true.
those are the things we went through, you
That's-
know. And so we were doing a lot of fundraisers last year.
Grabe, Gary, thank you, no? Not only once or twice or 3 times, the specials, di ba? It's so selfless. Pero yun na nga, si Angeli taught us how to do fundraisers na parang you won't be spending a lot also kasi yun nga, meron cost din pala in doing
Alam
fundraisers.
mo yung Noel,
Yeah.
imagine mo yung
Ikaw na yung nagmamagandang loob, ikaw pa yung gagastos, di ba? Sometimes.
ito si Gary nga, this is the funniest. Yung sa, naisip ko lang na yung April 18, 19 was supposed to be Pure Energy, right? This concert. So, a few weeks before that, we agreed to Bayanihan Musikahan.
Yes.
Right? So we agreed to that. But then I said, why don't we do also a show? So we decided to do Hopeful for 2 nights.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing because in that, it was like a span of 2 weeks, actually 10 days. We were able to raise almost 10 million.
Pero ito nga yung maganda. There was technical polish kasi of course you see Gary with the whole setup, no? But what I treasured there was Gary conversing with the audience na virtual. Of course, the live audience is what would give you energy. Pero ibang klase si Gary, kaya niya eh. Kaya niya talaga to relate to people, the online crowd. So you adapted to that, Gary. So what was the whole feeling then?
Well, I think I speak on behalf of every other artist na dati ay umaapak sa entablado at
That's
kaharap
true.
nilang audience.
That's true.
It was very different because even just to perform sitting down,
Yeah.
I don't have much space here.
That's true.
It was quite different, and yet it was fulfilling because I knew, like what you said kanina, I was able to communicate with people on a very personal level because many people were watching me on their own. They were all quarantined. People were quarantined with family, but sila lang, or sometimes people who were with COVID were actually watching the concert. So it was it again taught me so much about how to communicate with people. Sometimes it doesn't have to be done in the bigness of
That's true.
the event, but in the bigness of the intention,
That's
and
true.
when that happens, there's no telling how it's going to have an impact on people. So when I saw the numbers rising, I am not kasi one person who
That's it. That's it.
come and donate. I'm not. I just say it's a fundraiser, and you just give what you want to give. But I'm not one who'd like to force to give.
Yeah,
To give
yeah.
based on what you're led to give. So it taught me, how to continue to just be sincere, authentic. And when I say authentic, even the times when things
I
didn't
know.
work out, like one time we started the concert, wala pala yung button,
Donate button.
the donate
Donate
button.
button.
We had to reset the whole thing, and we were greenhorns at this.
That was Bayanihan Musikahan.
the Bayanihan
Yeah.
But my nephew Joshua,
Ang galing.
has been working with me. He's the lead singer of the band over October. Okay, so
Yun nga, Gary, parang if there's anything, si Gary comes with a team. Yun talaga,
Yes.
people will have to realize na merong value yung team.
yes,
No?
it is so important that you work with a team. Why? You leave yourself open to doing more. You leave yourself open to hearing more. And if you're open to it, you and the team, once you all capture what you're targeting to do, it's amazing what can take place. I mean, To hear people say, ang ganda ng tunog ng concert mo, that's exactly what I want people to feel. I want them to feel like I'm right there. I use a headset. I ask people, use a headset para marinig nyo kung ano yung naririnig ko at maiintindihan nyo kung bakit ganito ako. That I'm always in the pursuit of excellence. It's not perfect all the time. I may not have a voice.
Yes.
When you talk about excellence, kasi you're talking about God's excellence in the midst of your imperfection. And I'm just thankful that, I have a good team.
That other people excellent too. Yun yung maganda. Your technical people, the ones, kahit si Angeli, yung taga-take down lang ng mga requests, yun, it has to be excellent too. And you treat them as family. Ako yun talaga. Yes, Angeli.
No,
things we have to and learn.
Through the years, Gary, I noticed at night talaga, I already gave that up na, sometimes you want to make kwento. Wala, he's straight into his tutorials. Parang he went already PhD on tutorials about all this equipment.
Wait. No, wait. No, I'll let you finish. I just want to ask. Talk about me. Ma'am, may I go out? Kasi po,
go. Let's talk about him.
You can talk about me now.
Yeah, of course. Ang maganda doon, extension of your excellence and goodness yung mga taong nasa team, Jel.
Yeah.
And that's something people should learn
talk
from.
Nice about me, ha?
Yeah.
Oh, I love you.
Okay.
No, actually, it's true. Even
one more, and we love the same people. I'm happy that Venus back. We talked about that
she just had to take a break
during that pandemic, di ba, extension of your goodness. And then after that break, you know what she told me? Parang kung meron akong tao na gustong makasama at pagsilbihan hanggang mamatay na ako, kasi that's the realization when her mom died, sila. And we said, yan talaga, mahal, yung may hindi lang trabaho may malasakit. Yun yung touring mo dun sa team.
Actually, di ba she went to Viva? I even told Boss Vic Vic, I texted him, pahiram lang yan ha, kasi babalik yan sa amin. Sabi niya, okay, she must be very good because you trained her, But what am I saying? Yes, you have to have the resources. Human resources are just equipment and all the physical resources that you have. And I have to let you know that one of the things that really saw us through was the fact that I didn't understand all of these American Express bills I had na Gary, software.
Yeah. But you invested on those.
Yung fiber optics namin, magkano? Sabi ko, why do we have to invest in 20,000 a month for all these routers all over the house? And that he was the most prepared. He was the Boy Scout of all Boy Scouts when this thing happened.
So it's really quality still, no? In the end, no? Parang don't scrimp on quality.
There's something I also wanted to explain.
Yeah.
In negotiation, for example, people would not understand. So
premium. Understand premium.
I had to say I said Genesis comes with a surgeon principle. Which is when you get a surgeon, even if he does a pro bono in a medical wherever, he will say, you bring my anesthesiologist, you bring my nursing team and all that. And then at the same time, he will bring his own equipment, right?
That's true. True.
So I say with Gary, do you consider him like a surgeon, a professional? Yes. So he comes with a studio recording engineer or a sound engineer. And then I said, and because he uses his in-ears, he needs a monitoring engineer. Because there's something that he hears and there's something that the audience hears, which are two different audiences. Right? One is Gary as the person who hears himself in the in-ears.
Correct.
And then what about the stage manager? Because he's a diabetic. He needs to have Coke there. There was once, that stage manager, we agreed, sige, hindi na lang he will bring his own. Gary had an attack on stage and completely forgot that he had Valenciano waiting there to dance with him. Because we compromised and said, sige, since we know that sound and stage manager, we'll just use him na lang. And you know what happened? Wala. Gary was really terrible. He had an attack on stage. So that's what I call the surgeon principle.
That's true.
Consider Gary a pro, get his sound engineer, his stage manager, his team, and the sound system and lighting equipment and lead that he requires.
It's really that, no? Parang teaching people excellence and goodwill. And it takes a lot, no? Parang also to learn that. Kasi
It's going to
parang,
be,
yeah, go.
I think it's going to be a lifelong learning experience and
That's
teaching
true.
experience for us because, Noel, when things go back to normal,
That's
people
true.
are going to begin to pay again tickets to watch you.
Yes.
Why are you not going to give people the very best that they deserve
That's
when they
true.
themselves have saved up so much to watch you?
That's
Why are you going to scrimp on the sound system? Why are you going to scrimp on the, unless that's the concert that you're really going to give them?
Yeah,
But if you're going to say it's a pure energy concert, it's going to be this and it's going to be at the Araneta Coliseum or wherever,
That's true.
you have to give them what they are expecting and what is already in your heart from the very beginning that you want to give them. Nobody's going to understand you when you say, pasensya na lang sa sound system namin kasi ganito, kasi ganyan, kasi. No, they won't. You have to come out there with the excellence that you're right. The excellence that everyone must contribute in a big event so that it becomes memorable for people for decades to come.
Yun eh. That's our standard, not only for ourselves but for our community and eventually for our country. But then we'll go there later. But then Gary, it's that, no, it's excellence and goodwill. It takes a lot, Angeli, no? Parang fundraiser siya, pero ang dami mo pa ring i-give up pag ganyang fundraiser na libre for Gary to do it. But then yun nga yung goodwill. Sobrang goodwill yun. How many shows did you do na for charity? Ang dami. During
we had plenty.
Marami.
We have for ABS, we had for Cebu, Davao.
And now when people ask for clips, di ba, for songs that you like give, na
what I do tell them though is, can I just do it live na lang so that I can really communicate with the people who are there?
That's true.
I can shout out and say, "Hi, Noel," and they're watching and they're like, "Oh, what?" No, I mean you're watching, so you're as valuable as the person up close, as just like the person at the very back of the Coliseum. But this time, because of Zoom, everybody's up close and they deserve to be acknowledged somehow.
It's an instant connection. Before I let Maxine Cruz, Maxine interviewed you already for Radyo Katipunan. She'll join us in the second hour. She's the lolo niya yung gumawa ng Once Upon a Life, ha?
Roman Cruz.
Yes.
Yeah, so yun. Si Maxine. Anyway, one of my favorite. We'll talk about your catalog later. But then, as a couple, so family background, preference of living when you're nesting already. Kung kayo na lang, is it here, urban, rural, US, in the Philippines?
Mahal namin talagang Pilipinas eh. Kaya I really love this country. I see myself staying here. Until my dying days. I will love to visit the States because my whole family is there. Diba I said kanina 11 kami. Pero
yes.
I'm the only one here. So parang dapat better if I live there.
Yeah.
But for now, at least for now, unless God says go, dito muna kami.
And Angeli will just say, follow the boss. So that's what God wants. So we say love is the answer. We'll see as a couple, no? You would love to learn what, Angeli? What is something you'd love to learn pa?
Me?
Yeah.
I want to learn to be more disciplined like Gary.
Wow. Talaga? Totoo rin naman. Gary, ikaw?
Can I explain a little?
Go.
Because if my strength talaga is in contracts, understanding, because I took business law and all that. And
that's true.
But Gary is always 10 steps ahead of everybody.
That's true.
When he comes, even in ASAP, Louis Andrada will admit that when Gary comes, he's prepared. I mean,
well put together. No?
Like for example, I came in a little late because I'm so kalat. Like I will put makeup 10 minutes before the Zoom. Gary naman will put whatever, fix his hair and everything 1 hour before.
Galing.
You know what I mean? So when he comes, he's like so cool. Me, I'm like, oh my God.
But we love you for that too. But Gary, ikaw, what would you love to learn pa?
Well, there are things I can learn on a creative standpoint. And there are things I can learn from just being a follower of Christ. I would love to learn how to be more patient.
Oh,
I would love to learn how to wait on His timing and His way, because I always try and tell myself, kilala ko na si Lord, this is how He's going to be. It's not that way.
Second guess, no? A lot of surprises, no? Okay, Jel, ikaw naman. I would love to go to where?
I would love to go to. I would love to go. I think I'd love to go to Greece.
Aha.
Ooh.
Oh, yan na, pag-iipunan niya na yan.
Kasi 'di ba, hindi ba yung Bible, 'di ba, dati Greek.
Yes,
diba?
yes.
So I feel we've been to Rome already. We've been to Spain. I'd like to go to Greece. I'd like to go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
I've never been to Barcelona.
Oh, talaga, sarap food.
I'd love to go to Russia. You know, we've never been to Russia.
Okay.
Because I love history and everything. The greatest artists and came from Russia too. Diba?
Galing. Gars, ikaw, you'd love to go where?
Okay, first is, she mentioned Greece. That's one place I'd like to go to. But how I'd like to get there is to go by cruise. Because I'd love to go.
That's true.
Okay? Either the Alaska cruise or the Norwegian, or basta I want to go on a cruise.
Just pababa kayo every destination and then explore. No? Yeah.
Then you explore. Then you go back to the boat and you're off again and wake up in the morning and you have the ocean. Because I'm a beach person. I'm a water person, so I love being beside water. Another place I'd like to go to and visit is Portugal, because I heard a lot of Portugal.
Quaint, small, but really, ang ganda. Yeah.
Ganda daw talaga. The food is great. The people are great. A place is only as good as its people. If the people are great, everything becomes great at the same time. Even if the place doesn't have too much to see, if the people are great, it's always, you're up for a great experience all the time. So those are the places. And the last one probably would be, I'd like to go back with my family to Switzerland.
Okay. Well, we're friends with the ambassadors here. I can connect you there.
Okay.
Nila, they have the best chocolates, di ba?
And one last place that I feel my whole family loves, it's nowhere else but here at home, which is Palawan. I would love to go to Palawan again.
O kaya nyo naman yan ngayon with DOT restrictions less and less, no?
Yeah.
Game, next. You'd want to let go of, you'd love to let go of what, Jel?
Many things. I have too many things in my house.
Ang ganda, no?
I have too many, that's why I love Donita Rose. Donita is the most selfless, she doesn't get attached to things. Ako kasi,
kung mag-rummage sale ka ha, ayan, go with the memorabilia.
Ako kasi, I'm too, I have kept every Christmas card since I got married. I have all the Christmas cards in boxes.
Christmas card naman, iba yun.
Okay rin naman yun. Ako rin naman yung mga dedications mo sa mga bagoong. Nakatago rin naman.
Lola Emma. Kasi na Lola Emma.
Yes. I have.
But you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. She wants to get rid of a lot of things.
That's it. We'll wait for the rummage sale. Gars, ikaw.
I can start right now. See ya.
Let go of what, Gars? You would love to let go of what?
I would love to let go of things that don't want to let go of me. I want to let go of my diabetes.
Yes, of course.
I want to let go of all of that, but I can't. But okay lang, God's been seeing me through, so sige.
Hinintay lang ha, sorry. I'd love to talk to Angeli. Who would you love to talk to?
Me? Who would I love to talk to?
Someone you miss probably, or you'd want to learn from still?
Even if he's dead, no.
Someone you can do still. Parang yung pag-aayos mo ng things, no? Okay. Parang yung pag-aayos mo ng things, at least it's tangible and we can follow you up with that. Who would you want to talk to? Love to talk to?
That never occurred. I would love to talk to President Duterte.
Talaga?
Yeah.
Ang galing, fierce and fearless, at least.
Because,
get him into prayer.
Naku, naiiyak ako. Okay. I'll never forget when we went with UNICEF, I think, to Davao.
Davao. Okay.
My grandmother was from Davao, and
Okay.
she used to be a millionaire, and she lost her wealth. But Mayor Duterte then went to see me and Gary.
Oh.
And he came to see us to thank us because we went to the Davao Children's Jail, parang ganyan.
That's right.
And he performed. He did a little concert for them, and there was even this little boy that was lost. He had lost his parents, so they put him into this facility, and he danced with
And I danced
Gary.
with he danced with me.
God.
Nakuha ng ABS-CBN, pinalabas sa TV, and the mom saw it and said, "That's
No
my
wonder,
boy.
you know.
I'm looking for him."
God.
Ganun.
So may I share what now President Duterte, but what Mayor Duterte told me then? He says, "Do you know that your brother is my good friend?"
Oh, okay. Sana bumalik doon, no?
And he said, "You have a very good man for a brother." So when all these things happened, it just really broke my heart because I became his fan. I became whatever mistakes he's done, and I know he's made a lot, you know. I'll never forget how he said my brother was a good man. So I know deep inside he knows that. So that's why I want to talk to him, and I want to ask him, what made you change your opinion?
And then if God would really want to bring us back to our goodness, he will always have a way. You know, he always have a way.
So I always pray for him.
Well, Gary, at a certain point, during this pandemic, called for us to pray for him too.
I actually said, I know a lot of things are being said about him and all, but what does God tell me? Gary, just pray for him. If God even chooses any of us to get to talk to him, not to convert him, not to just to speak life into him, I'm open to do that. I know some people who are listening now might say, you're like this pala. This has nothing to do with any color. This has everything to do with the leading of the Holy Spirit and who he tells me I need to speak to. I would rather obey what he says than to fall into what others might say. No, wag na, and all that. And then I'd rather obey. But it's good to hear that from Angeli, because
I'm sure you're surprised, right? That
I am. But then parang it's good if God appoints it to happen or wills it to happen. Go. Di ba? Parang we all need that healing somehow.
Because I don't like a lot of things that he says or does. I'm totally against.
But we have to understand also how it's coming about, no? Parang also, no? And then, well, actually, yun yung radical love na sinasabi when you want to understand people where they're coming from, and eventually, no?
He probably doesn't know this, but I pray for him almost every day.
Yeah.
Because he's my president, even if I don't like some of the things he says and does.
Siya pa rin
So since he is the ordained president, it's my responsibility not to hate him, but to pray for him.
Oh, we'll go there. I'll call Maxine in a while. Last two things. I would love to help. What do you want to help, or who or where do you want yourself to help? At what
you
point?
first.
Me?
Yeah, you
Wait,
first.
I'm still emotional. You na lang first.
Ang ganda ng dynamics. Okay.
I'm thinking of, Tatay Digong.
Okay. If I actually mentioned this earlier today.
Ay, galing.
And there's one thing I want to do, and that's when social distancing is no longer as distant as it should be. Instead of going on tour to different places, back to, let's say, music museum, I want to go to different hospitals. I want to perform.
Permission to eat.
Yeah, go.
And I want to, honey, I had coffee naman eh. And I want to perform for the doctors, for the frontliners who can't do that, So I would love to do that, and that's what I'm hoping for. That was what the question was.
What would you? Well, I would love to help and then like really perform, uplift these people who haven't gotten their salaries right. Di ba? Parang ganun, and their benefits right, but then selflessly giving themselves of service to people. Del, ikaw.
I want to help the prisoners.
Okay.
Because of my Chinese novels.
Okay.
I read, there was the leading lady. She ended up in jail for 2 years, no? And then they were talking about all the bullying and everything that happened. And, the Bible always says, pray for prisoners. And do not forget the prisoners, And when I think of how they sleep, they're all patong-patong, in some of the jails. So that's my pinaka-burden. I would...
And some people there na misjudge, di ba? Na mali yung mga rulings, and that you can help, no?
Because
and
we
mothers,
know,
I guess.
We know that the corrupt people, they have so much money to pay good lawyers. So they're able to weave their way towards, freedom while the innocent are in jail. And so what we did during the pandemic, we had my friends, the Camachos of Prime Beef, we were sending thousands of kilos of beef and chicken and meats to the different mayors, LGUs, and I would specifically tell them sometimes, can you send it to the prisoners?
Ang galing. Ang galing. The owners of Maria, the rice, they love
Doña Maria.
Doña Maria rice. At sabi yun, you do those things, those charity things. Yun, ang galing lang.
We're sending them rice. And even Dizon Farms, the Posas,
galing.
Posas was sending us vegetables.
Yeah.
Parang be the voice of the voiceless. Diba? Parang ganun yung the powerless. And the people in prison. Last na lang, you would love to make. Gary said, go to the and sing to and entertain the doctors. What else? What would you love to make? To create at this point in your life.
You or me now? Me?
Ikaw na.
While you're
Ikaw na.
Me, I want to be able. I think I need to have a Dear Ate Angeli show.
Bagay sa'yo yan. Bagay sa'yo yan.
I think I want to be able to counsel people,
That's true. Yung helpline, no?
Yeah, helpline.
Totoo yan. Bagay sa'yo yan.
Especially as there's a lot of mental health issues. There are a lot of mental health issues.
That's true.
So maybe my own podcast or vlog or something.
Yeah. Bagay. Gars, ikaw.
Ako,
you'd like to create what?
I think in my career, I have hit that. It's okay, you can eat. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. I won't.
It was growling and I was scared. Hear it.
Gusto mo hawakan ko pa para sa iyo eh. No, what do you call this? Yung I think and Angeli I think has agreed to this, no? But I'm at the point of my career where entertaining is one thing I can do, but it's not the biggest thing I can do.
That's true.
I'm at the point where at my age, it's now time to already start thinking of what legacy I can leave behind.
Very good. Part of it, a book. Sorry.
That's part. But I do have some ideas that may come out online in the near future. And it's not about me, but it's more about who I'm going to present.
Galing.
That's a lot to do with music, of course.
And letting other people shine, I guess, no?
Definitely.
That's good. But will I see you in the movies again? Sorry, guys.
Can you force him, please? Because I've been telling him that for the longest time.
Kasi ang gusto niya MMK. Pero sabi ko, MMK kasi will focus a lot on my...
Totoo rin naman yun. Totoo rin naman. Ako, mas lasting ang films. Mas lasting
and I think, and I think that I think we're just waiting for the right role.
Right project. No, but here, guys, you are a storyteller. You should have a hand in the story that you'd like to do. You create it. I
actually started writing a story and I'm already like 15 pages in. I started in 2007. It's interesting. But shy ako eh.
Payagan mo na, Angeli.
So I'm writing a book also.
Oh yan, bagay sa'yo. Doon mo na lang ilagay yung Ate Helen, Ate Angeli, no? Parang the advice thing. But payagan mo na Gary, Jaja, same time next year type. Pwedeng ganon, di ba? Two characters or before sunrise, before sunset, and then before midnight, yung dalawa lang sila and how they've gathered wisdom.
That's going to be awesome. Well, I must say, if that's going to be with Jaja, that would be awesome because we know each other so well.
That's it.
You know, and there will be
Angeli, so parang yun, extension of herself. So that would be good, and they'd be singing. So in the end, pero it's that parang or reverse love story, pero yung kayo lang dalawa before sunrise, before sunset. And then eventually, well, bahala na kung if there be people watching, if you're doing something good anyway. But guys, please go back to acting. That's your unique selling proposition. Not all singers can act. And
you know, the films were the ones that gave Gary our first car. Boss gave us 40,000, and then we bought the laser.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it because
yes.
All of these things. All of these things you see behind me because trivia. Of music.
Just trivia.
But now kasi, it can be out of the box. Hindi na yung formula. So Gary can write. And Paolo may want it to be his first film. If he will afford to film. Because he's been doing these concerts with Julie and San Jose na parang narrative naman na.
Yes.
So we can have to have it.
Wait for the next one.
Heal, diba? I'm watching Heal. Anyway, let's welcome Maxine and we'll talk about your careers.
Anak ni Gino.
Anak ni Gino. Tapos yun, apo nung gumawa ng Once Upon a Life. So that's it. She interviewed Gary already.
Yes. How are you, Maxine?
The stories behind the songs. Max, go, game. Katatapos lang ni Gino ng class niya kay Mr. C.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. And then I think you're doing something with Mr. C with TOYM, guys, with Lea Salonga.
Yeah. Actually, we just released a brand new song called Heroes, dedicated to a lot of the frontliners. It's my first time to ever do a duet with Lea Salonga. I've done numbers with her, but this one is just Lea and myself. And the song was written by Joey Reyes and with a little help from Jonathan Manalo, but it's the music of Mr. C. So, you know, it's something. It's out. It's on YouTube. It's called Heroes, and I'm hoping.
So sa Duets album mo pala walang Lea, so never recorded.
Never recorded. First one. Ito yung first.
At least, and for a good cause.
Yes.
Now, Max, significant Gary V songs, and you wanna ask him about the stories behind those songs?
Yes, actually, but before I have my questions, Tito Gary, we know how much you love your fans and how much they love you. And two of them DM'd me on Instagram saying like, oh my gosh, Maxine, please tell him our messages. So I'm going to read both of these messages right now. One is from Wella Ann, who is at Gary V on the beat on Instagram, saying, oh, how Gary V touches my life is through his good personality, especially as a person. I admire his devotion as a Christian and as an artist. Yes, he has a pure heart and he is really sweet. He is a multi-talented guy that despite his age is able to venture into both singing and dancing. There is a lesson that I learned from him, which is whatever challenges and trials may come into each of our lives, let's not lose hope because in so many ways we will get through those things. And then one more from Bea Olivia Yaiko, who is Gary V and Angeli V forever on Instagram. That's her username. He inspired me to do my best through his music. Being their fan was the greatest experience and it keeps me motivated. His genre when it comes to music was so unique, especially his OPM songs. I'm very glad that I grew up with his music ever since I was a child up until now, and it gives me nostalgic vibes. He was truly the best musician of all time. And she also said the two of you are her favorite couple ever. Couple goals now, the best ever.
Thank you so much,
37
Bea.
years.
Thank
37 years.
Well, I want to thank Bea and Wella Ann. Wella Ann, I know you. Thank you so much for all. And also I want to say hi to all the solids. That's Remy and Rowena. Janet. It's Janet Romero. Mon Faustino is watching. He's the guy who arranged.
Ninong Mon.
Yeah, he did the vocal arrangement of that song, Heroes. I want to thank Mayan Casal and my Manila Genesis family. Mar Magdamo.
May Magdamo.
May, I'm sorry. It's just, May. Hi, May. And Ami Depano. And of course, Wella Ann, who who had a
And
message.
Mon Eugenio is watching. Angie
Oh, really?
Garino, Vina Pareja.
Yeah.
Mahal natin yung mga yan. Max, your memorable Gary V songs, and you may want to ask the stories behind those. Well, I may input pa si Angeli. Go.
My favorite Gary V song is Take Me Out of the Dark.
What's the story behind that?
That's my all-time favorite because of the message, and like I've seen the many different performances of it. I mean, Tito Guy, remember when I showed you my pictures of like how I started out like up to your waist and then up to your chest, up to your shoulder, like I track my growth. So like with every stage of my life, I have also grown in understanding of the song. And then I think like maybe this past year has been the time I understood it the most, because Take Me Out of the Dark, because that's what we feel like, that's what we've been feeling like we've been in the dark for so long, and we want to be out of it. So that's, as a listener, that's my perspective. But what about as the artist?
But it wasn't supposed to be the single, you said, Gareth?
Yeah, at that time it was released in 1986. So you can imagine, for somebody as young as you, Maxine, to say that you like the song when I know that you weren't even born when it came out, But in 1986, we were supposed to release another single called Each Passing Night, which is a duet with Regine Velasquez.
Okay.
She plays a special part. But because the Holy Week was coming up, this is just to cut the story short, okay? The radio station said, can we play this one song, Take Me Out of the Dark?
No, they just played it. They didn't even ask permission.
Well, they said they asked later on if
not appointed.
If it could be the next single, because even if Holy Week was done, people were now requesting for the song to be played. And it was a risk for me because it was very straightforward, inspirational, and all.
I don't think it was Each Passing Night. It was What More Can I Say? Because Each Passing Night was 1989.
Correct.
What More Can I Say also? The jazzy, di ba? Oh, yeah.
Medyo jazzy, pop R&B kind of thing.
That's Moving Thoughts.
So when Take Me Out of the Dark came out, I wrote it
how did you write it? Let's talk about how we wrote it.
At that time kasi wala akong equipment sa bahay. So we had to go into a recording studio and record there. That's how the albums were done before.
Yes.
Kailangan mong pumasok sa isang professional studio and you have all the music ready and go. We were on our last day of recording, and for some reason, gawa na yung music, wala pa yung lyrics, wala pa yung melody. So I went into the studio on the last day of recording and I had no ideas for the song, and I called her. And I said, Han, maybe it's not really God's will that this song is a part of the album. It's the last song. I don't have any lyrics. I have nothing. I mean, diba? I mean, that's me. That's how I am.
Yeah.
But, I mean, parang how hard naman. Sana naman it was, I don't know, baka maybe we should just take it out of the album na lang and all. And then she took the courage to ask me if I prayed about it. Okay? And I said no, I did not. So she suggested that I go into another studio, one of the empty studios in that whole facility, to say a prayer and to ask for the Holy Spirit to guide me. And I know to some it might seem like, wow naman, it's Holy Spirit. No, really. That's exactly what I did. And in a few minutes after, I walked back into the studio and I said, okay, all right, let's take it. We'll just go along, okay? Kasi I might fix up some things. Game.
Artista, oh. Ang galing.
Sometimes I just don't know what keeps me in your love. And that was it. The song was born.
It just flowed.
Yeah. And now it was hard to start it out. It was hard to get the song going because I didn't have anything. No lyrics, no melody.
Yeah.
But up to today, since 1986, up to today, that song
resonates, no?
Still speaking now to people even abroad, with people who have reacted to the performance I did of it last year.
But prepare your next song, Max, but I'll have to ask this. Sana maulit muli. I was telling Rowena that I have to ask for the English lyrics because it was originally written in English.
Yes.
So we love the song. How did it go, Angeli?
Gary, you talk to them about...
Go.
What happened was it was inspired by the untimely death of a young actress by the name of Judy Vega.
Yes.
Kaano yan ni Janice de Belen. Diba?
Yes.
So when she died, I was so affected and impacted by the picture of the late FPJ in a tabloid when he was beside her bed and he was like this. And I was moved at the fact that a young actress like Julie Vega could move such a seasoned actor like FPJ. That must have said a lot about her. You know, that did say a lot about her. So I wrote it in English. The same thing, the same intro and all. And basically
How did it go? How did it go, guys? In English.
In English, it went. The title was "Why'd You Close Your Eyes?"
Okay.
And if I sang it, it was, "But why'd you close your eyes so soon? Why'd you leave us all behind? But why'd you close your eyes so soon? You'll always be in our hearts and minds. But why'd you close your eyes?" It's just like that. You know, that
okay.
And in the course of time, I went to the parents of Julie Vega, and I promised them that I will never release that version. It will never be commercially produced. Okay. So I gave it on cassette, and I gave it. And then I don't know how many months went by when Universal Records, at that time WEA or WEA, suggested that I come up with a new Tagalog ballad.
Ayan na.
And I said, I don't write in Tagalog. It's something that's really going to be very difficult for me to do. Kasi at that time, parang Martin Rivera ako eh. Yung parang hindi pa.
Ayun, Tagalog. Okay.
Actually siya, ganun pa rin eh. Pero okay lang. But so then Angeli came up to me and said, Gary, if you want, I can get the song and I can translate it into Tagalog. Then I told her, I said, Han, it's about somebody dying. And I promised the parents that I will not release that kind of version. Then she said, what if I just rewrite the whole thing? Kaya walang connection yung sana maulit muli.
Correct.
To the version that I
Pero
wrote.
wala kayong LQ nun. Was there another story na it was born out of
The LQ was after kasi may mga comments na parang may pinapa-revise, and I said, wait, paano naman, that's not the, but tama.
That's not the only story.
Okay.
No, this is what happened. Okay, so Guy was leaving.
Okay,
He said, I'm recording tomorrow.
Oh my God, pressure.
So, do you think you can write the lyrics? So he went, he left. Meantime, I said, okay, what if I use the formula that we used on Take Me Out of the Dark? Just pray to the Holy Spirit and ask him to give me the lyrics, So truthfully, how do you write a love song about heartbreak and all, diba? You have to go back to your past boyfriend.
Okay.
Whatever. And then, I told that already to you before.
Hindi ko alam to.
No, past heartbreaks and past yours
Pakishare na
also.
ulit. Tapos sana maulit muli. Gusto mong
No, that means
Speak your mind. Speak. I need to know.
That's Gary. He never listens to me when I'm interviewing.
Okay.
Because he had these issues with I won't say the name, but this other girl. And he would tell me his issues, ganyan. So I would think about that. Then I'd think of my own personal heartbreaks,
Okay.
So that night, I asked the Lord, give me the Holy Spirit. And in 2 hours, sana maulit muli was born.
Hirap maging artist, no? The people will read through your lyrics and your life.
So it was like, and then he even complained and said, how come it has to be repetitive? Tingnan mo yung why'd you close your eyes? How many times did he say that? 3 times, diba?
But it's stuck to us.
He said, why do you have to say, kung kaya kong iwanan ka, di na sana aasa pa. Kung kaya kong umiwas na.
No, and then they wanted me to repeat.
Lalapit pa.
Yeah, they wanted me to
You
repeat.
even make it lalapit-lapit. It's not lalapit-lapit. It's only lalapit pa.
Yeah.
So
when you're a songwriter, you want to stick.
Pero sa live.
But I'm the one performing it, so.
No, here is maganda yung mahal pa rin kita.
Yeah.
Yun talaga.
Yun ang
So yung
pinaka-importante.
yung pinaka-favorite lines ko doon were, kahapon, bukas, ngayon.
Yeah. Okay.
Tanging wala
Forever.
pang, di ba, mahal. So So anyway, so I wrote the lyrics and all that. And I was leaving for Korea the next day with Lou Bonevi, you know.
Okay.
But Gary and I had a big fight about something. So he brought me to the airport pa. And it's the night that I was so mad at him about something. And then he recorded that song.
Ang ganda. And how songs feel.
May feelings kasi we LQ kami that night.
Ang tanong, bakit hindi ko matandaan yun?
Kanino kaya yung
later, okay?
Kanino kaya yung sana maulit muli niya? Yun yung tanong ni Gary V.
Kanya, nagagalit ako sa kanya. And then later on, when it was recorded already, Bobby Ante of I think WKC told Belyatan, kulang ng hook.
Isa pa yun. Yung parang tapos na yung recording.
So we had to redo
the chorus.
Kaya ko iwanan ka.
Oh my God.
Ako yung nag-arrange so I had to come back, do the whole thing, arrange it, do it again, and then go back into the studio. Although we did not have to fight again in order for me to continue with the feeling of the song. Right.
But you know, that time we had already written, I think, Di Bale na Lang.
Yeah.
And I remember that thanks to Danny Javier, you know, because we wanted Beyond Control and Vic Del Rosario was right, or his team, that it had to be Tuto.
That's true.
So he had again the music laid down.
Okay.
You know, laid out,
yeah.
When you put the lay in.
Track lay in.
Well, it's just track.
So he had already the music, and then he didn't know whether to make it English or Tagalog. And then I said, let's make it Tagalog like the Dina Natuto, and let's call it like Di Bale na Lang or something like that. And then from there, Roel, Gary, and I created the song.
Galing. And was made to a big movie years after. No, hold on, Maxine, isa pa. Well, they mentioned the kasi Beyond Control. I love that song. And I told you, I love that song with Freddy Santos. Such a good song with Louie Ocampo. Bakit nga hindi? Well, of course, Dina Natuto was the single. What was the inspiration there, guys? It was such a good song. I didn't want it to be just a filler of an album.
Which one? Beyond Control?
Beyond Control, yeah.
Okay, Beyond Control kasi, at that time when Freddy Santos, hold on, let me just get my coffee. When Freddy Santos would write any song, it was always something that was deep, and it's always something that...
That's true.
Now that's
same
Freddy
album with Close Your Eyes, di ba? Close Your Eyes and Beyond Control, same album.
Yung Close Your Eyes.
Dodgy Simon. That's
Dodgy Simon naman. Well,
album,
when you talk about Freddy Santos, you're talking the likes of people who wrote he wrote Could You Be Messiah? Yeah. You know, I mean, that's Freddy Santos. Now you combine Freddy Santos with Louie Ocampo.
Ibang class.
That's it. And so Beyond Control was one of the songs that I really, really hoped that it could have been made into a single, but it wasn't. No, but it was such a beautiful song.
Make it the theme of your movie with Jaja, please.
I know.
Oh, it can be that. And
just a moment, we love beyond the time, a second gone forever. You were mine.
Grabe. Angeli, why did you like that? Why did you like that song as a single, supposedly?
Both of us, we liked it because it was just so beautiful.
That's
you know, and apparently that's the favorite song of during that time of Ebe Dancel.
Oh,
really? Yeah, he told me.
It should be revived. Max, next song.
Okay, my next song, I remember this song because I remember after, I think it was Soul in Motion, and I'd be waiting for my dad, the music video would play. That's why I remember this song, because of the line, believing in things like magic and all that stuff. So it's Did It Ever. And I think this stayed with me as a little kid because of the word magic. And then now that I'm older and I listen to it again, it's like, oh, wow, heartbreak. So,
did it ever matter to you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, I love that song.
Wait. That's another song we actually kind of fought about, pero small lang.
I'll get that.
Because I love this song, Did It Ever.
Okay.
I really do. And she had a different reason for not kind of liking it that much because maybe it wasn't as commercial as the others.
The relatability, no? Yeah.
But I've always been one, let's just do something new, something different.
But I've been wanting him to do shows like on a regular basis. Ingit nga ako kay Martin kasi si Martin every night, di ba, he was singing before. Sabi ko, Gary, can you imagine your solid fans hearing you sing in another lifetime?
No, I know.
I love that, in another lifetime.
But even for a while, and then did it ever, wait forever. I mean, you've so
but
beautiful
did it ever?
songs.
You know, this is really a surprise. And I'm so thankful because the target of this song was really the younger generation. This is proof. I have proof that the song actually
Excuse me,
worked.
Gary. I've been asking you to do shows where you, diba,
Never
been hits concept.
Yeah. No, we've had ideas.
I've been asking him to do that.
Parang
never
side
been
B.
hits.
No, but we did. We came up with an entire album called Replay,
Yeah, but
where
you
the
need to
songs were
sing
there.
it.
Oh, well, I can sing
The
it.
fans are waiting for you to
nagka-pandemic
sing.
Nagka-pandemic.
Yan na.
The more may pandemic.
When I hear you call, yung mga
Teka, imumute ko lang, ha?
That's nice. That's nice.
Pero love pa rin.
Oo naman. So that's another song. Well, what you can ask Max, no? The song of your grandfather is something. No, Once Upon a Life. But it's
Sing it for a bit for Maxine.
It's such a hard song.
Once upon a life, we said we'd separate for a while, that you would live a different life, and I a different style. We broke the bond that made us one, but when that foolish deed was done, I lost you, and you lost me, and we asked what we had won. Oh, once upon a life. Something like that.
Galing.
Yeah.
Pino proud, I suppose.
No, that was the very first song that I got to really work hand in hand with Ryan Cayabia.
Yeah.
As in, he was in the studio, I was singing, and there was this beautiful song that was arranged for me. And at that time, totoo yung mga instrumento, hindi yung mga synthesizer na ginagamit ngayon. It's a real orchestra playing.
So beautiful.
It was beautifully done. And so when I got to sing it for your grandfather, Maxine.
He was a president of PAL.
He was president of PAL. And I remember singing it for him live when we had the launch of, when PAL had its first launch of flights to Vancouver, Chicago, and New York. Back then, it was such a big thrill for me to sing it, and he was right there. I love that song, actually.
Ang hirap lang kantahin, pero ang ganda-ganda.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's another song you should sing more.
Well, is there a song you sing as a duet? Kayong dalawa, please, Angeli, you sing. Well, you sing well too. Is there a Gary V song that you jam?
You know why? I'll tell you this. You know why? Because if I were as good as him...
Yan na naman.
No. Honest. My daughter, Kiana, I would prefer she does the duets.
Rin naman.
Ito yung din ko kasi talagang they will match each other. Ako kasi my voice, I'm not a soprano kasi. I am an alto. So, it's very difficult to do a duet with an alto.
Pero if you want Gary to have a Gary song to be done by Gary and Kiana, what song would that be?
Well, they did it already. Sana maulit.
Sana maulit. Aside from Sana maulit muli. Because everyone had that. Yung parang tatatak na, it sounded new.
Well, Narito. I'd love to hear him do Narito.
Really, really very good song.
I did write a song called With You, which is what I wrote for my son, Paolo, when he got married to Samantha.
Yeah.
It's a duet that I did with Kiana. So
I'll ask, are you ready na to let go of Kiana and pag kakasal?
Okay, thanks everyone. Nice talking to all of you. We'll see each other again. Bye.
LA na nga so it's been really
grabing parting yon, no, for a parent. Actually, them having their own lives already.
Well, I'm so proud of Kiana. And I know that she has a boyfriend who is a wonderful, wonderful man.
Ayan na.
No, really. I mean, I know the parents. We stayed in their place in our last trip, and we feel so blessed that she has been given somebody like this guy. Should they actually end up together, it will not be a surprise for me. But I am a father, and she is a mom, so I will also get affected.
Yeah.
But I don't know if all fathers will be as blessed as I am, because I know that my wife and I will be thankful that he will have a wife like Kiana.
Galing. So you'll write something like butterfly kisses?
Wag naman.
Di ba? So I see you doing that, Gars.
No.
So your only daughter, like getting married. That's
I don't know. Maybe that, or maybe something that's produced, maybe a short film, about.
Oh, wow. Galing, no? Iba na visual and for the millennials.
It's actually also almost Christmas, diba? I mean, the season is.
True.
I posted something last year featuring Kiana doing her first recording. It was a Christmas song. It's called Once Again It's Christmas. I don't know what edit it was or what version it was, but it's called Once Again It's Christmas. Noel, it's actual footage and audio of her recording in this room. She was this small, and she's like, I don't like, my voice is so ugly. I mean, all of these things. But you check it out. It's heartwarming. It really is. Every time I was, of course, needless to say, while I was editing, I was always like this.
Nakakamiss.
But it's
similar story with Max. Because ganyan din, ayaw siyang pakawalan ng dad niya. Si Gino, yan. Only girl na hindi pwedeng lumabas. Max, go! Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, actually, this is from earlier in the interview. I remember the two of you talking about like how things can get when you're performing like live. So like there's the stress on stage, there's the stress backstage, but I've seen both of you in shows and both of you seem to remain so calm. Like Tita Angeli behind the scenes, like you handle things very calmly, very gracefully. After the show, I see you and you're like very nice to everyone, very graceful. And of course, Tito Gary, how everything like when you're performing is okay, it's all right, and we all just good vibes and everything. So how do the two of you remain so calm when things are chaotic backstage? That's the right word. Both of you.
Kala lang natin yun.
Kala lang namin yun.
No, she's right. Akala nyo lang yun. Pero you have to also understand that with anything that requires full commitment, full concentration with the pursuit of excellence in mind, meron talagang mga mangyayari na hindi natin kanais-nais, kumbaga, no? And there are things that just won't fall into place, won't exactly be what you want, and it will create certain frictions and certain dynamics. But that's what it's about. When you see basketball players and they're out on even a championship team like the Chicago Bulls, minsan while they're on the court, they're talking to each other saying, we don't know what they're saying, but you can tell that, go and get the ball when I pass it to you and all. But their main objective is to win. It's not just to put down somebody and say, you're not catching the ball when I tell. It's to win. So with us, when you see Gary Valenciano on stage, he's on stage. He's the one, maybe he's the banner, he's carrying the banner, but it's an entire team that's really putting it together. And the tension doesn't only happen between us. Sometimes the tension is between her and the people in ticketing, or me and the guy in the sound engineer, or me and it's always like that. Now, the thing is, that's why you have rehearsals. That's why you have practices day in and day out. When the show comes, it's all in God's hands now. So he's going to allow you to do what you prepared yourself to do. If anything goes wrong, that's when his excellence steps in to our imperfection. And that's why, and then at the end of the concert, we can look at each other and go, wow, what a concert. And what I like about Angeli, what I like about your Tita Angeli, Maxine, is that many times she has consciously sat with me. I'm looking out like this sometimes in the car after the concert, and sometimes she'll just, oh, your back is wet pa rin, you're still sweating. Then that was a great concert, Han. That was a really good concert. And that, I have to say, is a reward that people like me, you cannot it's priceless, when you hear that, especially from your partner, from your wife, no?
That's true.
But there are those moments because it became great despite some of the friction that can go on. But it's not always friction.
Yeah.
Many times it's like, okay, let's go, let's do this. Okay, game. Let's go. Okay, it's gonna be great. Oh, I know it's gonna be great. Or when we're planning the concerts, di ba? Yung mga parang all the repertoire and all that. And sometimes, we get into friction because I don't want to do this song. She wants me to do that song, or she wants that song. I things like that happen. But in the end, when we finally have the repertoire and we know that this is going to be great, it's a good feeling. It makes me look forward to whatever else is coming up.
Ang galing.
Can
Angeli,
I say
go.
something, Maxine?
Yeah, go.
For me, kasi, the calm that you see, I mean, I have friends. Tina Godinez always says, Angeli's always on Demerol. It's like, all hell breaks loose, but I'm still on Demerol, I guess it's because also that I always say that God prepared me for such a time as then or this, like that, where very few know that, when Gary has diabetic attacks, these are seizures, these are unconscious situations where he wouldn't wake up for 30 minutes and it's 4 a.m. What do you do? So it's almost like when you face death so many times, he has, but I'm the one who sees it more often than not, so in that situation where his life is in your hands with the kind of first aid that you do or you've done in the past and you've got to do it again, inject him or do whatever, give glucose gel in the mouth or send him to the ER. So production is just, kumbaga, minamani ko na lang yan kasi it's not out of pride that I say this. It's just that a problem in production is nothing compared to his life.
Losing
his life. So for me, I try to surround myself and the team with the best. Exactly. And I would think that for 30 years, we've worked with the Faustino brothers, with Mon Faustino and his family. And you work with the Genesis team, also 35 years with, and all and I would like to say the fans who have prayed with us, the sponsors who have supported us. So when you do a lot of pre-production, because when you have a show, that just doesn't happen. You have a technical meeting, you have a pre-production
meeting upon
creative meetings, and when you've done what you have to do, the show is already have fun. The work has been done, and now it's time to have some fun. You know what I mean?
Ang ganda lang. So we're going to the next one at going to the end, no? So it's like managing your family, a career, and now country. If only we are in unison, like producing a concert and making a country run like that, Angeli, with excellence, with goodwill, with trust that we can do good things together. It's something.
Laban Lenny!
But it's something we envision na sana mangyari, no? So now we look for spaces where we can work together excellently as a country, no, as a nation. So how important for artists like you now, or managers like us, who to really be relevant or to be really involved in the whole workings of a society?
There's a lot of money being funneled everywhere today.
Yes.
And there will be people who would be endorsing because they were paid, and people are paid millions and millions.
That's true.
I wouldn't want to sell the future of my children and grandchildren. At least this is a very pivotal time in our country's history.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot of challenges in the last 35 years since martial law.
Yes.
And I really thought about it. We really are a young democracy.
That's true.
So there's so much that parang you're given a certain influence, And you gotta take advantage of that influence, because one day, for me, you're gonna account to the Lord for every fan that you've let set, gone astray. Let them gone astray because you endorse somebody for the money. You've got to believe with conviction in the people that you would, that you would fight for. Like when Kiko came out in Rappler,
yeah,
shocked with the trolls, and how they could slander him. And all I could say was the truth. And I said, masungit ang brother ko sometimes, but you know what? My brother is a good man.
Hindi siya corrupt.
Not corrupt. He is a lawyer. He was into public service before real public service in Barangay Dos. He was giving free. free
But Jel, we never envisioned, parang it's something given to him, a call of service, a call to serve, pero it's nothing that he wanted, no, at this time, but it's a call that God presented to him.
What really touched me, with this whole situation is when he gave Sharon.
That's true.
When he gave Sharon the imprimatur. In other words, I will not do this if my wife doesn't say yes.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he knew the risks. He knew who he would go against, and it was very painful.
Yeah.
But because he made a decision, a prayerful decision, that he did, may God's choice win. And this is not about going against each other.
Yeah.
But really, if you are given a calling and sometimes it's not even the victory or the defeat.
That's true.
But the path that leads to that, the people
it's presenting yourself to people, no, as an option.
People you touch, reach, and are able to influence.
That's true. That's true. Gar's very important here in this election is parang to vote for people who are extensions of our principles and our values, no? So what are your guides in choosing the next leader with your followers without naming people, no? Parang ano yung pangkonsyensya or parang panglapit mo dun sa mga taong before you choose anyone, these are your guidelines?
Well, it's amazing that you say that, because you actually answered your own the question by saying it's based on the principles. I think that as a Filipino, I think we've all gone through so much, like Angeli said, not just in the 35 years, but even before any of us were aware of what all of this was all about. The Philippines was already going through so much.
That's true.
The generation now, though, it really would be good for us to look into the future, okay, where the principles, knowing what your principles are and voting on someone who believes in that. Does it mean it's going to change overnight? It won't. But it's a start. It's the start. It's like planting good seed on good soil. And depending on what seed you plant, you can bear fruit in a few months, in a year, or maybe in many more years, but at least you planted good seed on good soil. So my advice, to people who choose is try not anymore to, because there will be so much negativity that's going to come out regarding every single candidate who's out there. But look at the positive. Look at what I totally agree with you, Noel. Look at the positive influences of your good principles and see if this person is actually going to play a role in either influencing others to have the same or to further deepen what Filipinos have always been so conscious about, which is principio. And I think that by doing so, not only will you have made the right choice, but you will also have peace in your heart, that you made the right choice. Now, let's say the person doesn't win. You'll still have peace because you stood by the principles that you've learned from your parents when you were growing up. So I don't know. That's just
for me, the choice that you make, will also be part of the path that you will have to take.
That's true.
Because if you choose on the basis of the 500 pesos, 500,000, 5 million, 50 million that was given to you, that's momentary. You're
That's
talking here of 6 years.
that's true.
Not only 6 years, but we are still paying for the debts that some people made 20
Yeah.
years ago.
Can
Yeah.
I share
Go,
something
go, go.
that
Go, guys.
my brother-in-law
Mm.
Kiko shared with me a long time ago.
Mm,
Okay,
mhm.
he was thinking of backing out from
Yeah.
politics, and today I'm glad that he brought up again in one of his clips what he shared with me years ago when I told him, so bro, why didn't you, he was in my house, they were
Mhm.
counting, and he was not making the cut, no?
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, bro, why don't you just quit na lang?
Mhm.
I mean, you've done so much already. Why don't you just quit?
Mhm.
And he repeated this year on his clips when he said, one of these days, bro, my kids are going to grow up and they're going to know that I serve the country. If I quit, I don't ever want them to come to the point of asking me, so dad, you knew what the problems were. You knew what could have been done. What did you do? Quit? Diba? So he still wants to go on, and it's amazing to see where he's gone
Yeah.
from being, popular and all that, all the way to being almost like a farmer.
That's true. That's true.
But in the process, he's come to understand the people of that particular field. And I think that's going to play a major, major role, not only in this coming elections, but I think in the years to come. It's honing and molding him into the kind of leader that I think the Philippines will be surprised to have.
Galing, no? Kasi it's really, again, faith, family, friends. We talked about friends and food. And Kiko's part of it, di ba? Parang food for the body and
Correct.
food for the soul.
Correct.
No, the what you do in the arts. Max, any wrap-up or synthesis question?
Well, I guess to lighten things up a bit, it's almost Christmas. So what are you most looking forward to this holiday season?
Oh, I miss a Christmas album. Is she coming here?
Kiana's coming home for a bit, just for a short while. She'll be spending her birthday here. Her birthday is December 21. So I'm glad. And that for me is that nobody needs to get me any other gift. Kiana's coming home. We're good. I'm good.
Ang galing. So it's really, again, God, family, country. Pagbuo yan, you'll really rule the country the way God affected you and how you're ruling your family, no? It's the same dynamics, really. So thank you, Jel, and thank you, Gary, your family. And here, hopes and prayers. Again, back to prayers. Prayers for yourself. Last, Jel, any final prayer for yourself?
Early on in my Christian life, I knew that we live a very short life, and we live for eternal life. Actually, this is really just the boarding gate or wherever that we are. No, my prayer is that one day when I face the Lord, He's going to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So on my way there, hoping that I will hear that, I want to be able to maximize the gifts and the skills and the people He's given me. And it's not everything that glitters is gold, So I pray that God would give me the wisdom to be able to discern what are the projects to accept, what are the projects to decline, and how I am to treat my family and how I am to be the best version of myself that God created me to be.
Forever evolving and forever really serving us. Thank you, Angeli. Gary, prayer for yourself first.
Well, just like the virus, I don't know what's going to go on in this body of mine in the next years. No, I know that I am a living miracle. I know that I've already surpassed certain studies with regard to diabetes, and I've surpassed all of these things. No, but what I pray for more than health is that deep down inside, I continue to strive not just to pursue excellence, but to pursue everything that God has always wanted me to be. That I can sustain this for whatever number of years I have left. I don't know how long I'll be able to perform, but even if one day I should say, okay, this is enough, it doesn't mean that God's going to stop doing things in me and through me. So I'm that's what I'm praying for talaga.
Did you want us to say a prayer? Is that what you wanted?
No. Okay lang yun. Okay lang yun. And second one, for our industry, Angeli, your prayer or your hopes for our industry.
The problem of our industry is the lack of regulation and the lack of reforms for the rights of the artists. And my prayer for the industry is that we go beyond individuality and come together and unite with the sole purpose of being able to raise the standards of the different communities through because when you're a star, you have the best of all worlds. But what about the stuntmen? What about the little people? What about the backup singers and musicians? So it's so important for us to unite. So this is my prayer that God will develop and raise up strong leaders like you, Noel, to be able to unite people for the greater good, not just for the good of a few, but for the greater good of all. That's my
voice for the voiceless, di ba? Parang that eh.
To be a voice for the voiceless. That's a beautiful. You're really a script writer, Noel.
No, Gars, our representative.
I truly hope that there will come a time when entertainment industry can be looked at as a means of really boosting up the image, the economy, and just what the Philippines is about, like what they did in Korea. The K-pop artists are soaring, and they're not just flying, they are soaring because they've gotten help from the government. And now the government has been able to see, wow, our talent can really bring in, it's a source of for the economy and all. And so I'm hoping, with everything that Angeli said, I'm hoping things can be fixed in that area, but I'm also hoping for that kind of support for the talents that we have, which people know already. The Philippines is the breadbasket of talent in all of Asia.
True.
So when we go out there, when we perform, it's coming from a nation that's gone through so much, which is actually a plus, because songs are supposed to be done from here. And this is where all of those experiences happen. So when we sing and when we perform, it's not just to entertain, it's really to share who we are. And I think it's a great way that can really help the Philippines in in more ways than one. And not just to make people cry or laugh or entertain, but it's really meant to do so much more for the country.
Ang galing, no? And then eventually, Angeli, that we be regarded as essential. Yun talaga. In this pandemic, parang we were sidetracked. But then now,
but you know what? We were able to develop a lot of people learn to be self-sufficient.
That's true.
People learned how to
be resourceful,
develop themselves, how to attend.
But we need support. We need.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Regulation. Really.
That's true. Now,
last creative industry bill. Remember how good that was.
That's true. Last, Angeli, for our country now. Your prayer for the country.
Righteousness exalts the nation. And so my prayer is that, because the Bible says, unless the Lord builds the house or the country, we toil in vain. So if we make him first, if we make God first, because we were supposed to be the number one Christian nation in Asia.
The only one.
But we have forgotten the very few principles of love God above all and love your neighbor as yourself. So my prayer is these two very basic commandments that Jesus left us with. I pray that people will embrace love more than hate, because there's a lot of hate right now.
That's true.
So that if the Philippines learns to love God, they will learn to love people.
Oh, that's true. The healing starts there. Gars, your prayer for our nation.
I recently finished, no, not recently, but in March, I finished a song called Make Us Whole
Yes,
Again.
make us whole again. I love
And
that.
I guess that whole song is a prayer in itself, but the bridge, what's the bridge again? Um, and in the bridge of the song, the lyrics are, and we believe that you won't leave us.
You have to sing it.
And we believe that you won't leave us, because it's a promise you have made. Even when our hearts get so discouraged, there's not one you will forsake. And when the waves leave us battered on the broken roads we've got to take, may we walk the way that leads to you. May it be the choice we make
Gary V.
as we sing. So that's my prayer, that no matter what the outcome and turnout may be in the up and coming elections, that we do not forget that for whatever road there is, I pray we choose the road that leads to Him. And that will enable and allow His healing to begin, to make us whole again. We're not out of the woods yet with regard to COVID. We're not out of the woods with regard to the economy. We're not out of the woods with regard to corruption. We're not out of the woods with regard to so many other issues that people have brought up again and again and again. Maybe it's time for us, in order for us to get up on our feet, maybe it's time we go down on our knees.
Oh,
and in that way, it will enable God to do things only He can do miraculously in all our lives as individuals and in our lives as a nation known as the Philippines. That's
oh my God, we needed that inspiration, or that those words of hope. Max, final words now for this couple.
To Gary, Tita Angeli, I learned a lot from today. I really enjoyed this conversation, and your faith and trust in God is really something we can all learn from. It's so inspiring because, like you said, more people need to remember that God is there. We really just have to let Him in. And Tito Gary, thank you for singing my grandpa's song. I never thought I would see a performance of my grandpa's song, and that was just wow. That was just so special.
Is your dad watching or no?
I think he is from the other room.
From the other room.
From the other room. He's like,
hey, friend, hey, no.
No, but thank you, Gary. When I'm asking God now where I saw Him during this day today, it's in both of you, and I just like to thank you. We love the same people, we love the same country, and we love the same causes. In my heart, you'll always be my shepherd, Lord. You know that. I call Gary that. And we'll always be family, Angeli. In my wake, I told Vina, as I told you that Rico Yan requested for Warriors a Child, mine will be, I will be here and goodbye, my friend. So that has to be revived too. Yeah. But thank you. Yun na lang siguro. Because in the end, after this whole day, where did I see God? It's always in you. Excellence, goodwill, and the service to other people. You've been so selfless. It's not, again, we've come to that point in our lives that it's not about us. It's really to serve the greater good. So sabi nga, ano pa yung gusto natin gawin? Bigyan ng trabaho yung nawalan ng trabaho sa ABS-CBN. Yan also, and then pray for those people na nawala pa ring trabaho, that are struggling. So it's really that. Trabaho, gutom, food, and health. It's really that. But in the end, outside all those material things, it's dignity. Ibalik yung kabutihan ng tao. Yun. And I see that in you. Thank you, and I love you. You know that. Thank you for leveling up with
God
us.
bless you. And thank you for all that you do for Kiko and my family.
Yeah.
For Sharon, most especially. You know that.
Again, extension of our goodness, of our principles too. Thank you very much, and I'll see you. See you again singing in ASAP. Don't get sick anymore. And Angeli, more organizing because we need that.
I want to say hi to Marge of the UNICEF family, JIL Timog, Joshua Espino, Erica Lising, Team Valenciano.
Wow. They're all here, no? Watching. Thanks,
A lot
guys.
of people.
Thank you. I love you and see you again. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Mon
you.
Faustino. Bye.
Ninong Mon. He got so thin, no? Ang sarap.
I know, the best.
Oo, galing. Thank you, Angeli. Thank you, Gary.
Are we out already? Yes, no, we're out.
I think.
Hi there.
Di kailanman mapipigilan pagbuhos ng ulan. Ang buhay sadyang ganyan.
At kaya ng papago-bagong pag-ihip ng hangin. Lahat ay lilipas at magsasalita.
Huwag kang mabahala, huwag mataranta. Hindi kailangan ang mag-alilangan pa.
Isipin mo laging nandito lamang ang aking balikat, sa'yo'y nakaabang.
Asahan mo, hindi ka iiwan sa mundo. Lahat may hangganan, asahan mo. Wala nang atrasan sa iyong bawat hakbang na pupuntahan. Pangako kailanman, agad akong nandyan. Sang tawag mo
Tuwing nagdidilim ang langit, di ba't nagpapakita ang buwan? Hanggang mag-umaga na naman.
Tara't hintayin na natin
Magsikat ang iyong araw
hanggang sa magliwanag muli ang lahat. Asahan mo, hindi ka iiwan sa mundo. Lahat may hangganan, asahan mo. Wala nang atrasan sa iyong bawat hakbang na pupuntahan. Pangako kailanman, agad akong nandyan. Sang tawag mo asahan mo, hindi ka iiwan sa mundo. Lahat may hangganan, asahan mo. Wala nang atrasan sa iyong bawat hakbang na pupuntahan. Pangako kailanman, agad akong nandyan. Sang tawag mo sang tawag mo
Mga katipuneros, it's time to level up! Your talk variety program showcasing the best in media and other fields. As we feature the most loved personalities and the best practices of what we truly refer to as Magis. Together with multi-awarded multimedia guru Mr. Noel Ferrer, let's all level up every Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo-katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-katipunan. the voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak.